Okay, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I had to complete the testing numbers. It's from my old Sesame Street days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, I should have gone to 12 then. Hey, everybody. James Arnold Taylor here. And I don't know if it's going to sound different. It may sound different. I'm in my studio at home, but I am recording from my laptop because today is Wednesday, the 30th. Tomorrow is Halloween. And today, one episode of the podcast came out. But I was planning on recording an episode of the podcast today in my studio, the normal way I normally do it. But here's the deal. Woke up this morning to news of a huge fire just a few miles away from our house. And so there's a very good chance the power could go out or that we could be evacuated and all of that. Just like last year, we had the Woolsey fire. It was a big mess. But I'm like, otherwise I'm sitting watching the news. So I'm going to record the podcast. But I can't do it from my studio because here's the deal. When there's a danger of the power going out and all of that, my studio is this whole big thing. And, you got to flip switches and turn on everything. And, I don't want to take any risk of blowing out any of my hard drives or any of that. So, again, I say so, what I'm doing is recording to my laptop here. And I'm just going to record the audio here, and then I will later take this audio and put it back into my computer when it's safe and produce the whole thing with music and all that jazz. So basically, it's just me talking to me, as always. Welcome to Talking to Myself. Well, let's bring in Mr. Announcer Guy. Oh, Mr. Announcer Guy!
Oh, yes, James.
How are you?
I'm doing, well, I'm doing okay. I'm a little concerned.
Well, I'm a little concerned as well, Mr. Announcer Guy. The fires are just like I woke up to a text from my buddy Scott Damien, who's a wonderful guy. He's like a brother to me. I've mentioned that before. Scotty was texting me and asking if I'm okay.
Yeah, I got the same text.
You did?
Well, yeah, because I'm you.
Oh, that's right. So I got up and I looked out the window, and sure enough, huge billows of smoke and fire on the other side of the hill from where I live. And it's like, oh no, not again. Here we go again. Last year, for those of you that don't know, if you haven't been listening to the podcast from day one and listened to every episode, last year around this time, we had the Woolsey fire, which is a huge fire out in my area. And the houses across the street from me burned down and it got very close. We were evacuated for a week. It was not a great time. Many of our neighbors lost their homes, and it's very sad. And so this is just kind of, it's getting us a little. So, Mr. Announcer Guy, shall we do an intro to the show? Because by the time this comes out next week, I'm sure everything will be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure of it too, man.
Okay, man. Well, go ahead and do the big announcement for the show then.
You got it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to Talking to Myself, the James Arnold Taylor Podcast, or the JATcast as we call it.
That's right, we do. It's got a lot of names.
On today's show, Jat's gonna just talk to you about stuff while he waits to see if he has to be evacuated from a fire.
Well, that sounds very dramatic.
Sorry, man. Here he is, James Arnold Taylor.
Okay. Oh, I can hear airplanes and wind. The planes are flying over flame retardant and water. They're putting out fires. It is kind of dramatic. It really is. Thanks, Mr. Announcer Guy, by the way. Thank you.
You got it, James. I'm going to go and watch the news.
All right, you keep me posted. And there he goes. So looking out my window that is normally nice and calm and beautiful here at the JAT Studios, I am seeing winds gusting up to 60, 70, almost 80 mile an hour winds that we have going on. And you can actually kind of hear them. Well, I don't know if you guys can hear that. But, it's just, there's this constant, sounds like, airplane flying over or something. It's crazy. It is nuts. It's crazy. Go nuts. And, but this is what we do. Look, I figured, like I say, I could sit at home and twiddle my thumbs and do nothing, or I could record the podcast and get another episode out there for you, and also use this as a way of encouraging people. There's many things I want to say on this podcast today, but the main thing is here's the deal. if you're going through something that is scary or uncertain, you still just have to fear not, okay? And if you're a believer like I am in God, then you just have to know that He's with you and He will protect you. And even if the worst case scenarios happen, it's going to be okay. It will eventually be okay. So, here it's fine now. I mean, it's not, I'm not trying to be dramatic. It's just different. So that's the whole other point of it, is sometimes you just have to do things differently when you're in a place of things, stressful or changing or what have you. And a lot of you, had this happen when you went to college. Okay, I go off to college and now life is different. I mean, it's not what I expected before. And so now it's different. It's the same today. Today is a different day than any other day. Even though I'm in my studio just the same, I'm not recording the same. I'm recording a different way. Now, I have many ways I could have set up and recorded. I could record from my laptop. I could record from my iPad. I could record from my iPhone. I could record from these digital hard drive mixers that I have that are separate from my computer. I chose to do the laptop here so I can just watch it. Although I'm going to guess sooner or later the fan on my laptop's going to turn on and it's going to start making noise. If it does, that's a bummer. But anyways, so here is the JATcast. We are recording. We are doing stuff. We are moving forward. And it's fun. I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted because I'm also I'm watching to make sure everything records right and stuff. And it's just a different way of doing it. But thank you, everybody, that already today, this morning, the James Arnold Taylor Podcast episode number 3 of season 2 came out, and I'm already getting letters and things from people. This is how quickly it moves, man. The JAT Fellowship, the followers of JAT and the podcast, you all are on top of it, and I appreciate you all so very, very much. So thank you for the kind letters and notes and comments on YouTube. If you listen on YouTube, that's how you can do it. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or one of those, hey, give me a nice review. I don't know if Spotify has reviews, but I know iTunes does. So if you don't mind, give me a 5-star. Please hit that little 5-star, just 5 stars, 5 stars. Even if you go, today's episode was a 4-star, give me 5 stars, all right? I would really, really appreciate it. And if you do, I'll say, hello there, just like Obi-Wan Kenobi. There you go. And so much to thank you all for, and a lot of letters and things. I don't know. I guess I can do, you know what I can do? I can pull up letters from my iPhone, and Bob can read them from there if we do letters today, which is what we'll do. But so much going on. Now, here's another funny thing that happened. So this week last week now, while you're listening to this, is I put a video out, and I talked about it in the last one, saying it's coming out, about when I got a cold and how voice actors handle a cold. And, well, first off, are you drinking water? Let's drink some water. I'm drinking hot water with turmeric in it today. Yeah, listen. That's good turmeric water. What is turmeric? Turmeric is a root vegetable, and you can use it as a seasoning and stuff, but it's very good for your immune system. It's very good for your body. And I am doing right now, I'll get back to my story about YouTube, but right presently, I decided yesterday to do a fast. So it's kind of interesting, this timing with the fire and everything. Now, what is a fast? Well, for those of you that don't know, I'm fasting from food then for the next few days. I'm not going to eat anything. I'm just going to drink water and tea and take some supplements. And why am I doing that? Well, a couple reasons I'm doing that. One is my stomach wasn't feeling the greatest lately. I know, TMI, too much information. No, and I was just like, I was feeling like, I wasn't enjoying food and stuff, and I was feeling like maybe I got a little something going on there. So I'm just going to fast from food for a few days, just drink some water, just help the body cleanse and heal from whatever might be going on. And so that's something that I do on a regular basis. But I haven't fasted. I'll tell you, I have not fasted from food in years. You know why? Because I'm a pretty skinny guy and I need to eat a lot. I do. I eat a lot of food. Normally, I eat big, like, I have friends that come over and they watch me eat and they're like, man, you sock away a lot of food. So I do. But, so I'm taking a little break, but also here's the other reason why I'm fasting. I'm fasting because I'm being very prayerful right now. There's decisions and things in my life that I want to do, and I want to make some big decisions. There's some big decisions going on in my life. Everything's fine. Don't worry. It's not like that. My family's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. But there's like choices of new adventures and new things I want to pursue in my life. And so I'm very prayerful about those things. So I'm trying to gain insight. And how do I gain insight? Well, one thing I do is if I'm really trying to show God, look, I really want to focus on this, I will fast from things. So I'm fasting from television. I'm fasting from eating. I'm fasting for just a few days until Friday, probably, which is like the first day of November. Yeah, November 1st. So I will fast for 3 days and just again to clear my mind, to clear my body, and to try and get a little closer to God. So, it's putting away distractions and trying to just focus in on Him and show Him that I'm committed to trying to make these decisions. So that's what I'm doing. I don't do this often, to this extreme. A lot of times I will fast television or social media and those things, which is easy to do. It's harder to fast television and social media today because of the fires, and I have to keep my eye out for them. But I'm not going to sit around and watch TV or anything right now. I'm just keeping an eye on the news, so to make sure in case we have to evacuate again. We've packed up some things because last year we had to evacuate from the fire. There's a whole episode on the fire. I tell my whole story of the fire. The Woolsey fire was the name of it. And you can go back, I believe it was episode 5 or 6 of the James Arnold Taylor podcast from last season. So you could go back and find that. It says James Jat Talks Woolsey fire. And it tells the whole story. It was a very harrowing story. It was, all that, well, harrowing. It wasn't, we weren't in danger, but it was scary. It was scary stuff that happened. So I've got to watch the news to make sure that we don't have to evacuate or anything. But other than that, I'm fasting from that. I'm fasting from food, and I'm just trying to focus in on prayer, asking God to give me guidance as to what my next steps in these particular things that I'm doing, which I'm not going to share because it's at this point, it's not to that point. But I am saying, if any of you that are fellow Christians and such, or people that pray of any faith that pray, and you keep me in prayers, keep me in prayer for good decision making and for wisdom and knowledge from God. That's what I'm asking for. And if you don't believe in that stuff, well, then you can just send out some positive vibes for me, I guess. So the YouTube thing. Okay, so last week I put out a video of how a voice actor handles having a cold. Now, here's the funny thing. This is so funny, and many of you listening could be some of the people that did this. I keep getting all these well wishes from everybody going, "Oh, James, I hope you're okay. Hope your cold gets better." I recorded this thing in March of this year. This was months ago that I had a cold. And many of you that follow me may remember I had to cancel some Comic-Cons. I had to cancel Chicago. What was it? C2E2. I had to cancel that because I couldn't go because I got a cold the week earlier while I was in Seattle. So I don't have a cold right now, everybody, okay? I'm fine. This video was pre-recorded back in March, and it took me a while to edit it all down and stuff because I've just been busy doing other things. So I finally started editing these things because I'm going to break it up into several parts throughout that week of that. So there was a week in March where I had a cold. Then I got over the cold, but I videotaped all of my adventures during that time, and I show you all things that I do to help keep me from getting sicker or to keep my voice while I have a cold, and so I can still work, because I ended up getting jobs and stuff on that for Fox, and then another thing where it was a voice match for a thing that I can't tell you about even still. But so all of you that have watched the videos and have sent me well wishes, I'm okay. I'm not sick. I was sick in March. But see, I guess that's the funny thing. People see videos and they don't, I said in it, I was very clear at the beginning, I have a cold and it's March. It's not March now, guys. It's November. Well, it's almost November. Well, it will be November by the time you're listening to this. Okay, I'm going to drink some more hot turmeric water. Are you drinking water? Are you breathing? Are you relaxing? Are you doing all the things that you do on the James Arnold Taylor podcast? I hope you are. Okay. I haven't brought Hank or Billy or anybody in yet. Mr. Announcer guy came in. So not a lot of voices. I guess I could do voices, but I'm also just kind of trying to talk to y'all here. It's a different day. I don't have the usual setup here, but I'm still on an Aston microphone. Thanks to the folks at Aston. Ooh, hey, here's a fun thing. Have you gone to Aston Microphones? Let's see, what is their website? They have a page about me. You can go to astonmics.com, ASTONMICS.com, and then there is a page on me. And I gave them an extensive interview, and you can read through that interview and you can hear my whole story. And I tell all sorts of wonderful stories there. And they did a wonderful job. There's a James Arnold Taylor artist page. So go to astonmics.com and check it out. My thanks to Aston for putting that together. And I am talking on my Aston microphone right now, plugged into my Shure mixer, which is a X2U, the Shure X2U, plugged into my laptop. I have a MacBook Air. And that's how I'm recording the podcast on Twisted Wave right now. And then I'm going to take the Twisted Wave audio file and I will bring it into my computer, and I will then finish this podcast and put in all the music and sound effects and all that stuff that you normally hear. So when you're hearing it, it'll be just like everything else. But right now, as I'm recording it, it's very different. Usually I'm on my big computer system and stuff. So, it's really dry. The winds are blowing. It's 50 or so degrees out, which is weird. Normally it's hot when it's fire weather. These, what they call Santa Ana winds, are blowing like crazy. They said they're basically hurricane force winds happening here in our little area, our little town, and they're crazy. I mean, stuff is blowing all over the place. It's a little scary in that because we have neighbors that have tall trees, and I've always been a little nervous about these trees. I was nervous last year with these trees because of the fires, like that they would catch on fire because they're these gigantic pine trees. Now I'm a little nervous that they might fall over and land on somebody's house, mine or my neighbor's. That would be terrible. But so let's pray that doesn't happen. You know, life just happens. But I thought it's a good way to record the podcast. I'm a little scattered today, but I appreciate you all listening. Just jumping around from topic to topic. And some of it also is because I haven't eaten in 24 hours. And so you're getting Jat unplugged here is what this is. This is, but thank you all for supporting the podcast. Thank you all for still listening. Here's a way you can help. Spread the word. If you have somebody that you know would enjoy this podcast, share it with them. Share it, tell them to go back to episode 1 and listen so they can, know who all the characters are and stuff, because we got so many wonderful characters on this show. Me talking to me. Of course, I just called all my own characters wonderful, but it's true. I love them all. I don't think of them as me. So when Hank comes in, hey, Hank.
What? We got to evacuate?
No. It's fine.
Okay, because, I'm putting all the onion sandwiches in the car.
Okay, look, Hank, I think there's more important things to evacuate from the house. If we had to evacuate due to a fire here today, I don't think the onion sandwiches are the ones we have to worry about.
Well, you got to, that's what you think, but, you got to eat.
Yeah, but I'm not going to eat an onion sandwich. I'm fasting today anyways. I'm not going to eat anything. I'm just drink.
The fasting, I don't know how you do that. I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do it. You don't want to bite of this onion sandwich?
No, get that onion sandwich out of my face. Anyways, no, Hank, I was just saying, it's a little different podcast here today. I'm recording on the laptop instead of the computer and everything.
Yeah, you got the laptop is going there with the thing and the twisted wavings and...
Twisted waves.
Twisted waves is...
No, Twisted Wave.
Whatever.
Yeah, so we're doing it different because we don't know, at any moment in time the power could go out. But if the power goes out now with my laptop, I can still record because it's got battery. See?
Oh, you're pretty smart. That's why you're doing it this way.
Yeah, see? But if I was doing it the other way and the power went out, everything would be gone and, I could possibly lose stuff, because I got hard drives. So the way my studio, I have these huge hard drives, 12 terabyte hard drives that, hold all this information and all these things. So I have to back everything up all the time. Oh, do you hate backing up stuff? Boy, I hate backing up stuff. And Hank, my engineer, you'd think he'd help with that.
Well, I don't know how to do any of that.
I know. I mean, what good are you? You're the engineer. Come on.
Yeah, whatever, man. You should get Billy to do that.
Well, Billy does help me with... Hey, Billy.
Oh, yes, sir, Mr. James. Yes, sir. Yeah, I was backing up the other hard drives the other day, and I got it all backed up for you.
Thank you so much, Billy. I appreciate that. That's so much more than Hank does.
Hey.
What? No, it's true, Hank.
Yeah, right, whatever. You're back there hard driving's up.
Hard drives. I think you do it on purpose. You make up words and you change them. Hard drivings.
Well, they're hard drivings. They're driving and they drive hard.
Okay, whatever, man. Anyways, guys, we're all set in case we need to, my wife and I, earlier this morning, we packed stuff up. again, paperwork and everything. You got to pack up everything, and it's kind of a hassle, but you got to do what you got to do. So important documents. People always ask me that too. What do you pack up in case of an evacuation for a fire? We pack up photo albums and photos and our old yearbooks from school. We pack up jewelry. We pack up stuff that we have in a safe. Documents. My daughter was adopted, so we pack up important documents there. We pack up our passports and stuff. Here's the other thing. My wife and I have to leave later today to go to the DMV, which is right where the fire is. So I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. It's right where they close the freeway, which is right by Ronald Reagan, the Ronald Reagan Library, Presidential Library, which is just up the hill from us. And they've so far protected the library, but so yeah, my wife and I have appointments that we made like months ago. Because you ever try to go to the DMV? The DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles. For those of you that don't drive yet that are listening, oh man, are you in for a treat when you're old enough to drive and you got to go to the DMV. It is always huge lines. So my wife and I made these appointments months ago because that's how the DMV works, right? And of course, today is the day that the appointments are, and we don't know if we're going to be able to go because they may close the DMV early because of all the fires and the evacuations, and the freeway right by the DMV is completely closed off. So, but it's these important appointments we have to get these new identification things, because now they're changing it's smart IDs, so you don't need a passport to travel, but you have to have the smart ID when you travel. It's this whole big thing because I travel so much, so we were like, we got to get these smart IDs before the deadline, which is October of next year. It expires, and everybody has to have converted to smart IDs. So the appointments have been forever. So I'm just hoping that our appointments hold today and that we can still get them done, because that would be a hassle to have to reschedule them. But anyways, that's what we're doing. But I guess if I have to go do that, Hank, you can finish the podcast.
Oh, yeah, no, Billy and I, we'll go ahead and finish the podcast. Talk about stuff like, breathing deeper. You got to breathe deeper. Okay, everybody listen to the James Arnold Taylor podcast. You got to breathe deep.
What do you do? First off, I don't go, okay, everybody in the podcast, you breathe deep.
Well, no, but, that's me doing my, I'm kind of mocking you.
Yeah, you are. All right, so go ahead. Go ahead, Hank. Take over.
Well, okay. So, you gotta breathe. Okay, first off, let's drink some water.
No, don't touch my water.
Oh, boy, what's in that water? It tastes weird.
That's my turmeric water. Why did you drink my water? Don't you have your own water? Now it's got like onion sandwich and stuff on. Oh, Hank, I gotta get more water.
That water tasted funny.
Well, it's got turmeric in it.
Turmeric.
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 Turmeric. Turmeric. Say it.
Two for Rick.
No. Anyways, please don't drink my water anymore. Billy, can you get me a new water?
Yes, sir, Mr. James. Yes, sir, right away, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, I'll go.
Thank you. So, anyways, go ahead, Hank. Take over.
Oh, yeah, you drink the water, but don't drink that water. The water tastes funny with two Ricks in it.
The turmeric.
Yeah, and now we're going to breathe, okay? Everybody listen to the James Arnold Taylor podcast. You got to breathe, okay? Ready? Hello, 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 breathe.
That's not how we breathe.
You go, hello, 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 breathe.
That's not... You make me laugh, but that's not it, Hank. Go ahead. Come on. We breathe like this. Everybody, we take a nice big breath in for 4 seconds. We hold it for 7 seconds. We blow it out for 8 seconds. Remember?
I feel lightheaded.
Yeah, me too. No, now see, and I say 4 seconds, 7 seconds, and 8 seconds, but it's really a count to 4, because I don't actually do a real 4 seconds. I just in my head, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I go 1, 2, 3. So that's not really, that's probably 4 seconds, 3 seconds. I don't know. But anyways, so you breathe in for 4, count to 4, you hold for a count to 7, and you breathe out for a count to 8. That's really what it is.
Okay, yeah, so you do that.
Hey, Hank, come on. What are you...
Well, sometimes you got to burp. That turmeric water made me burp.
Turmeric water.
Yeah, it made me burp.
Okay. Anyways, we're so off topic today. There's nothing really... I guess we could bring it... we haven't had a lot of other... like Mr. Announcer Guy comes in, but we haven't had like Jake the Announcer Guy. Maybe we should have Jake today because it's kind of a dramatic day. Hey, Jake! Jake the Announcer Guy!
Yes, James. How are you?
Well, I'm good, but it's kind of a dramatic day. And the funny thing, Jake, is, see, here's the deal. We have been watching the news, and the news, even though it is dramatic, there is stuff going on and people's homes are in danger and all of that. And the Reagan Library was almost, in danger of burning and stuff too. The news tends to just make it so much more dramatic. And so I thought maybe you could say, something like Fire Watch 2019 or something.
You got it, James. Now, it's the JATcast Firewatch 2019.
That's very dramatic. Thank you, Mr. Jake Announcer, dramatic announcer guy. Is that what we call it? We just call you Jake the Announcer guy.
Yeah, James. I'm going to go now.
All right. You keep an eye on the fire. Anyways, so lots going on. And thank you all for your cards and letters and stuff. Cards. Nobody sends me cards, but that's the expression. Oh, boy. So fasting. Let's talk about fasting for a second. Is there anything you could fast today, this week, whatever? And that can be fasting just from negative thoughts. It could be fasting from being negative towards yourself or being negative towards somebody else. It could be fasting from too much television. It could be fasting from video games. Ooh, a lot of you play the video games. It could be fasting from your smartphone. Put that smartphone down. Here's what we try to do at the James Arnold Taylor house when it's not business hours. See, unfortunately, because of business, we do have to keep the phones somewhat around in case my agents text or something like that. But we have a mudroom here. Do y'all know what a mudroom is? A mudroom is a room in the house. It's usually right off the garage or the laundry area or whatever. It's our laundry room. It's small. It's not huge. But it's a place where we put our shoes because we're shoeless in our house. Now, I know some people make fun of houses that are shoeless, but I think it's wonderful. You know why it's good to be shoeless in your house? You're not tracking in all the junk, all the dirt, especially if you have carpet. Now, we have carpet upstairs. We have all hard floors downstairs. But upstairs we have carpet, so we never wear our shoes in the house. We just don't do it because you're just bringing in dirt and junk and gross stuff and whatever. And most people don't even think about it. You just wear your shoes, you walk all around. I'm sure most of you're like, whatever. But it's look at the bottom of your shoes. Do you really want that like on your bed or on the floor that you then sometimes sit on and stuff? It's gross. So we are shoeless in the house. So we have a mud room, and that's where we take off our shoes. And then we have slippers. And then we have indoor shoes. So like I have a pair of shoes that I wear in the house. Ooh, look at that. I'm getting texts all like crazy. Everybody's texting me. I should have turned my volume down. Look at that. Who's texting me? Oh, you know what it is? You know who's texting me? It is all the folks from the Kenobi film. The Kenobi short film. I'm getting texts from Maxine Phoenix, who was Aunt Beru. And she's got a little group there, and she's saying we all need to hang out. So that's sweet. Isn't that nice? Okay. All right. I'm going to turn that off there. And what was I talking about? Oh, so the mudroom. So the mudroom is where we keep our shoes, and then we have other shoes that we wear for inside the house, or we wear slippers. Or my daughter likes to wear socks and stuff and little ballet shoes because she's a ballerina. So we do that. Anyways, I don't know why I was bringing up the mudroom originally. Oh, we were talking about fasting. That's what it was. Maybe I should bring in Reginald. Hey, Reginald, don't call me Reggie. Yes, James. Hello, James. So, Reginald, we're talking about fasting. Right. Fasting is very important. I like to fast from things that, sweets and things every once in a while. And then, of course, there's Lent during the Easter season. That's right. Easter, Lent, there's 40 days of Lent, and you fast for 40 days. Usually I will fast from things like, sweets or television or social media. Oh, that's what it was. We were talking about fasting from social media. And I was saying what we do here at the James Arnold Taylor podcast. Thank you, Reginald, don't call me Reggie, for reminding me. Right. It's my pleasure, even though I don't know what I did. Okay. Well, the mudroom. The mudroom is where we keep our phones. So we keep our iPhones and stuff in there. And so we fast from them throughout the day. We try to not be on them as much as possible because you know what? I mean, this stuff, it gets in the way of life sometimes, of just living your life, because people text you and stuff just like that. Like, see, I got texts while I was sitting there talking about fasting from phones, and then texts come in from people. So consider fasting something that will help you focus your energies on something else. Okay. So all of us need to be working on stuff. Now, see, this is a perfect example. This podcast today is a perfect example. I talk about the book, The War of Art. Not The Art of War. That's a different book. The War of Art is a great book. And I've talked about it before in other episodes of the podcast. But he talks about resistance. And the resistance as an artist, as somebody that is a creative force, the resistance is always telling you to just not do anything creative that day. And so today, here we're in danger. We got to kind of lay low with, not running a bunch of things power-wise and stuff because, we're in a fire zone and we don't know if we'll be evacuated and all of that stuff. So I'm limited to what I could do today, but I want to be creative. And I thought, well, okay, I could try to write. I can work on some scripts that I'm writing and stuff. But really what I wanted to do, my plan yesterday was, well, I would record a podcast because I'm trying to stay a week ahead with the podcast. So you all get a podcast every week. So I was like, oh man, how do I do that? But so resistance goes, don't do it. Just sit around, just watch the news all day and watch the fires on the news, James. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I got to do something. So if you're fasting from things, it allows you to put your energy into the other things that you get resistance on. Okay. So what could you fast that would allow you to put energy into other things that might help you with your dreams and goals today? Do you know? Do you have an answer to that? In other words, I'm fasting from food. I'm fasting from television. I'm fasting from all these things today. And I'm putting my energy into the podcast. Why? Because the podcast is important to me. Why? Because, I'm right here, James. Yeah, I know, Reginald. You should be saying the whys. Okay, so I'm fasting. Now, that's where you say why. Oh, right. Why? Well, because of the fact that it allows me to focus my energies on other things. Why is the podcast important? I don't know. Why is the podcast important? Even though I do know, but go ahead and answer. Right. Thank you. It's important because it feeds all of your souls. It helps all of you. It motivates all of you to do things too. And every week, if you then go to your little inbox and you get, oh, there's an episode of the podcast, and I get inspired and I get more motivation and stuff from listening to Jat, then that's important. So I have to do it. That's why I want to do it. I want to put it out there for all of you to keep you motivated and to keep you breathing and drinking water and doing all those things that we're teaching you and being mindful. Are you mindful while you're listening to today's podcast? I hope so. I hope you're being mindful. I hope you're thinking and feeling the moment that you're in and not, oh, later I got to do this and oh, earlier that happened and I can't believe, stop. Live in the moment right now with Jat and let's be mindful, okay? Everything's all right. Right. This is so important, James. This is such good stuff. Talking about fasting, talking about mindfulness, talking about breathing and taking it in, but also talking about the creative power that is in each person that is listening to this podcast and what they can do with it if they're enabling themselves by fasting from things that are not as good for them as they should be. Very well put, Reginald. Don't call me Reggie. You can just say, well put, Reginald. Well, I know, but I have to finish. Anyways, it is so important to take time and grow, okay? That's why I wrote my book, JAT 365, 365 Daily Inspiration for the Pursuit of Your Dreams, okay? What are your dreams? What are your goals? Are you writing them down? Are you keeping track of them? Are you doing something every day that brings you closer to your goals? If you were to take some time to fast this week from something, doesn't have to be from food, okay? But it could be from a specific food. I'm not going to eat those Doritos. I'm not going to eat that junk food. I'm going to eat more healthy like Jat talks about. I'm going to drink more water. I'm not going to drink Coca-Cola this week. I'm not going to drink soda. I'm not going to drink coffee, whatever. You could fast from something for a week. Although let me tell you, honestly, if you're somebody that drinks caffeine regularly and you fast from it for a week, just know you're going to feel the effects of that. You're going to get a headache and stuff more than likely. But, so what could you fast this week that will help you achieve more of the goals you want to achieve in life and get you closer to the dreams and goals that you have in your life? Because every single one of us has a dream. Every single one of us has goals that we want to reach. Make sure they're attainable goals. Make sure they're not just for you and your ego or making a bunch of money or becoming famous. You know how I've become a celebrity? By not thinking about becoming a celebrity. Okay, I became a celebrity as a voice actor by just loving the art of voice acting and pursuing it with a passion. I didn't do it thinking, and then maybe I'll be famous. Because you know what the truth is I'm not famous. Even though I've been in tons and tons of dozens and dozens of movies and hundreds of television shows and video games and all of that and done all that work. And that's not a brag. I'm just stating a fact. none of it was done with the intention of, so I can be famous. It was done because I love the work. So love the work that you do. Love what you're seeking and trying to do. Love the dreams and goals that you have, and make sure they're healthy ones that are not just on a road to, to excess, okay? But success, all right? Not excess. Excess is wanting to live the life that, all these celebrities and pop stars and stuff have. And most of them, if you talk to them, they're not happy. They're not fulfilled. It really is a cliche, but it really is true. I know plenty of people that have had everything given to them because they're famous. I know a lot of, famous people. And at the end of the day, they all had to go through, and some of them are still going through it. Some haven't gone through it yet, but the ones that I talk to have gone through these moments where it's like, you know what? That's all fleeting. And what really matters is life and pursuing what makes me happy and content in my life and my dreams and goals. And if they're artists, like I'm an artist, or like many of you are artists, what really makes them happy is the act of doing the actual art. Okay. So the acting, the singing, the writing, the painting, the drawing, the producing, the whatever it is, the computer graphics, the designing, the storytelling, that is what makes them happy. And that's what has to be done every day. And drink a little water. It's so dry out here. I don't know if you can tell, you can hear I'm drying out. And I'm getting a little clicky sound in my mouth. Although I have a program, pretty amazing program that can take all the mouth clicks out. It's called Isotope, is the company that makes it, and it's a plugin. So I usually will put that through if I hear a lot of mouth clicks. So you may not be hearing the mouth clicks at all because I've probably removed them already by the time this is finished and produced. So there you go. Anyways, back to what I'm saying. What is your passion? But what is your real passion? A realistic passion. Right, James, I've got to stop you there. Okay, go ahead, Reginald. Don't call me Reggie. Would you stop that? All right, go ahead. It's very important that people know what their true passions are. But how do you know, Jat? How do you know? Okay, how do you know? That's a great question, Reginald. If you would, and this is also why I'm fasting from things right now, today. When you take away all distractions, where does your mind go? What do you really want to do? For me, it's painting. I would love to be in an artist studio all day, surrounded by canvases and art and clay and sculpting and painting and painting my paintings that I do. That's where my passion is right now. That's what I would love to do. I love voice acting. I'd love to be in a booth recording. I'm recording right now, so this makes me happy as well. This is also where my passion is. See, again, I'm fasting from things today. I'm pulling away, and so I'm still on a microphone because this is what I love to do as well. But I'm getting to the point in my life where, as much as I love voicing characters on TV shows and video games and movies and all of that stuff, I would prefer creating stuff like this that helps inspire people and bring people closer to their dreams and goals than just recording a bunch of goofy cartoons. I think they're fun and I love doing them, and I'm grateful that I make a living doing them. And I don't want to stop necessarily, but at the end of the day, if somebody said, you could do this or you could do that, I would paint and do podcasts and do videos on my YouTube channel and create stuff for all of you to learn and grow from and inspire you, rather than going and driving out to LA and doing studio sessions for cartoons and things that make an impact but don't make the same impact. See, I'm in control of the impact that I make here with the podcast, and I'm able to then say, and I'm able to speak freely about my faith. I'm able to speak freely about my belief systems. I'm able to share with you all the pursuits of passion that you should have and encourage you to have those here. I can't do that when I'm being, an 11-year-old kid, and just kind of doing goofy things in a cartoon.
Or doing Fred Flintstone saying, post Fruity Pebble cereal, part of a good breakfast.
It's just not, it's not the same thing. And so, it's a balance. It's a balance, Reginald. And you have to know what are those things that really stir you, and can you make a living doing them? Presently, I can't make a living on my podcast and my YouTube channel and stuff. I make very little from any of this. It's just monetization on the podcast, on YouTube rather. So there's really no money to be made. I could do a Patreon account and I could ask all of you to send money in, but I don't feel right as a celebrity in the place in my life where I'm at. I don't feel right going, and yeah, so if you all want to have me continue doing this podcast, send me money. It just doesn't feel right. Because I know many of you are struggling to, make money and to do things and stuff. And it's like, so that's, I would rather be independently wealthy and be able to do it. I'm not, but, maybe someday. Say a prayer for Jat to be independently wealthy. One big movie comes in, right? And then there you go. Drinking more water. So in the sidelines, I do this. So on the days off, I do this. I record the podcast. I try to inspire you. I fast from other things and put my creative energies into this. And I try to do it daily. You want to make sure that your creative stuff is done daily. If you're a writer, write something every day, even if it's terrible, even if it's nothing, even if it's just in your journal. Write something every day. If you're a voice actor or you want to be a voice actor, get on a microphone every single day and practice your technique. Read something and just record it at home for fun. Read a Dr. Seuss book. Read a chapter from a book that's your favorite book. Go on and record your own podcast or your own video diaries or audio diaries. You just get on the microphone and get used to hearing yourself. If you're someone that is a filmmaker, watch, study film, but also do things that can teach you about your craft and start making little videos. Get your iPhone and just make a video for the day. Just a little short film. Do something creative. Go outside and shoot something creative. Do something creative every day that leads you towards your dreams and goals of doing what you want to do in life. Okay? If you're someone that is not all that creative, do whatever it is that leads you to. If you're an accountant, if you're a mathematician, I'm not saying those aren't creative. I'm talking about in the arts creative. So please forgive me if that came off wrong, because there's tons of jobs that are so important. Science and math and numbers and then teachers. See, people wouldn't consider what teachers do art. I consider it a great art form to be a good teacher because you are a master speaker. You are up in front of people every day. You are there giving of yourself so much more. So I see that as art. I see it as an artistry. People that cut hair, I see that as an artistry. People that do makeup, I see that as an artistry. All of those things are artistry. People that are accountants, I see it as an artistry because you can do something with numbers that I cannot do. People that cook, that is beautiful art. People that serve, waiting tables, that is an art form. There's an art form to everything we do. Okay? So find the beauty in the art in whatever it is that you do. And if you go, even though I'm doing a job, say you're doing a job like you're waiting tables and you're like, this is not what I want to do. I want to be an actor, or I want to be a writer, or I want to be a director, or I want to be, an artist. I want to be creative. Use moments within that time interacting with other people to show your artistry. Okay? By being there for others sometimes. That's just the artistry of it, Oh, I hope all that makes sense, Reginald. I think it does, James. I do think it goes a little deep and it makes people question, what is it that I'm doing? What is it that I could do to become more applying artistic endeavors into my daily life? Yeah, because it's important to apply those artistic endeavors into every bit of our day. You can make it, you could be artistic about how you brush your teeth, man. You could, getting ready for the day, whatever it is. So find the artistry today, fast from the things that pull you away from that artistry, okay? And see the beauty in it, breathe it in, make notes about it too. By the end of the day, write down some stuff. What did you learn today about yourself? Write down some things. Journal. If you're not somebody that journals, consider getting a journal. You probably have a notepad sitting around the house somewhere. You probably have a journal that somebody gave you somewhere. If not, go out and get one. It doesn't have to be an expensive thing. You go to, CVS or Walgreens or one of those places and just Walmart and just buy a little notepad and start writing down your thoughts and see where it takes you. You never know. You could get caught up in that and go, this is wonderful. Every day at the end of the day, I write down my thoughts now, or in the beginning of the day or in the middle of the day, whatever. It doesn't matter. So know who you are as an artist, and no matter what you do. That's the other conclusion we came to here, Reginald. Right. If you're somebody that is in the arts, you're an artist. But if you're somebody that is not in the arts, you're still an artist because there's artistry in everything we do. That is so true, James. Right. Okay. So, I guess we have time. Reginald, can you go get Bob and have him come in? And when you do, say this, hey, Bob, Bob. I'd like to hear you do that Reginald, don't call me Reggie. I'm not going to do that. I might say, hello, Bob. Bob. Bob's your uncle. Bob. Okay, that's pretty close. That was all right. I like that. Right, I'll go get him. Thank you. All right, so...
Yeah. Thank you, Reginald. Don't call me Reggie. He said, Bob's your uncle, Bob.
Well, thank you, Bob. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing, indubitably, I'm doing well.
Okay, so we have a lot of emails, even coming in even today, because today is a day, it's a Wednesday, and that's when the podcast comes out. So last week's podcast came out today while we're recording this week's because we're a week ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's very confusing, but yes. So, yes, we have a lot of emails.
So let's take a few of these. Oh, you know what? Let's also, I want to say there's one email, there's some emails I've been getting, that we've been getting from a fellow, I see you flag these, named Josh in Nashville. And Josh is a delightful young man. Josh, hello there. I'm sure you're listening to the podcast. And I want to thank you for your emails, all your emails. But Josh, you've been sending like 5-6 emails a day. You don't need to do that, buddy, okay? It's all okay. And I know Josh has said that he has autism, and so he is sending me things, and you've been sending me a lot of the same email all the time. Dude, that's totally cool. But you don't have to, okay? Just know that I've read your emails, and I see them when they come in, and we got them, and we all go through them, and I'm really grateful for your emails, and I'm glad that you're emailing, and you can email me whenever. But don't feel the need to keep sending a ton of emails every day, okay? And in them, you were asking me about books and stuff to read. And so let me answer. I want to answer this first. But, well, Bob, you can read. Yeah, you can read what he says.
Oh, yes, indubitably. Josh from Nashville says, hey, Jat, I just wanted to tell you, thank you for your podcast. It's awesome, and it's a breath of fresh air, and I love how you talk about God and your Christian faith. I re-listened to your old episodes, and I remembered you told everyone to read Alan Arnold's The Story of With.
That's right. Alan Arnold is my buddy. Alan Arnold wrote The Story of With. It's a better way to live, love, and create. And it's a fantastic book. It's been the sponsor of the podcast here every once in a while. Absolutely, people should read it. So there you go.
Oh, yes, he says. But also, you said to read Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking.
That's another one that has changed my life. The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale is a book that changed my life, literally. I highly recommend everybody get that book and read it. No matter what you believe, I recommend getting that book. It's a life changer. It's a game changer. It changes how you think and how you look at things, and it really allows you to see the positives in life. So anybody that struggles with positivity and not being positive, get Norman Vincent Peale's book, The Power of Positive Thinking. It's been out for decades, and it's an amazing book.
But yes, so he says, is there any other books you could suggest to read to develop my faith as a Christian?
Well, that's a great question, Josh. Yes, other books that I can suggest, I would suggest reading Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. Mere Christianity is a wonderful book, and it is a game changer as well, just like The Power of Positive Thinking. Another book that I love, I'm trying to remember what it's called now. It used to be called The Utter Relief of Holiness by John Eldredge. But they changed the name of it now, and I'm trying to remember what the new name of it is. Let me look it up. John Eldredge is a theologian and a writer, and he has a ministry called Ransomed Heart Ministry, and Alan Arnold, who wrote The Story of With, works for them. So go to ransomedheart.com and check out their whole thing. And they have an app. You can, if you have a smartphone, Josh, and you do apps and stuff, and you read your Bible on your apps on your smartphone, get the Ransomed Heart app. It's great. They have podcasts on there, and they talk about their faith, and they have reading and all sorts of stuff. And Alan Arnold is on those podcasts, which is really great. All of you, in fact, I recommend the Ransomed Heart app. But he wrote a book called The Utter Relief of Holiness, which I really love. They changed the name of the book. I can't remember what it's called now, but off the top of my head. But another one of his books that I love is called Beautiful Outlaw, and it is about Jesus. And it is all, here's the thing I love about the book Beautiful Outlaw by John Eldredge. Get it if you eat, no matter what you believe, check this book out because it really is awesome. And again, know what you believe and why you believe it. So you can read things that aren't just about what you believe, and that helps you. But Beautiful Outlaw is a beautiful book by John Eldredge. The thing I love about it is it talks about how Jesus was not just all like, pretty flowers and hippie beads and all of that, and just, walking around going, let's just love each other. He said the tough stuff, and he didn't pull any punches. And Jesus, he got his hands dirty. He got down in the dirt with people and he helped everybody, but he didn't just do it in in a peaceful, loving way. Like, he would call people out that were not doing the right things. He was a rugged warrior. He really was. There was a side of him, of course, that was extremely loving. That's what he is. God is love, and he was love. But he also wasn't afraid to say the tough things, and he wasn't afraid to do the tough things. And so I love that book because it talks about all of those instances in the Bible where Jesus does that. So Beautiful Outlaw is a great book I recommend as well for you, Josh. Hope that's helpful to you, buddy. All right. What else do we got, Bob?
Oh, yes. Let's see. This one is from Cam in the United States.
Cam. Okay. What's Cam say?
Says, I just wanted to write an email after the nudging of my 11-year-old son, Jonah, with whom I listen to your podcast when it comes out.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's great, Cam.
Yes, and he says, thank you for your fun and uplifting podcast, and most especially for your boldness with sharing your faith so openly.
Well, that's exactly what I was talking about there with the book Beautiful Outlaw. That's I think what Christ did is I think he was bold and open, and he just tried to show people, this is me. This is who I am. So again, as I always say to people, if you hung out with James Arnold Taylor, this is what you get. What you see is what you get. What you hear is what you get.
Yes, okay, so Cam goes on to say, I discovered you when you were a guest on Rebel Force Radio, and I have been a fan ever since.
Well, that's awesome, and I love the folks at Rebel Force Radio. That's great. That's awesome. Thanks so much for supporting their podcast as well.
Yes, ever since I can remember, I've been into creating characters, doing voices, drawing, and just creating.
This goes back to what we were talking about, Cam, about throughout this whole episode, being creative and loving and doing it all.
I am a professional musician and a Montessori teacher.
Again, so now, see, you're a teacher as well, and you're a musician, and you're a professional musician. That is awesome. Teachers are the lifeblood of our society. Okay, everybody? They really are. Entertainment and Hollywood and celebrities and people like me get all the attention and the fancy podcasts and all of that. Teachers are the ones that make it happen. The reason I am an entertainer is I was inspired by, of course, actors like Robin Williams and Steve Martin and comedians and people like that and Mel Blanc and all that. But you know who got me to do it? Who really got me to act was a teacher, Mr. Rosa, my 5th grade teacher. He was the one that got me to, there was a play we did and it was called, it was based on Mork and Mindy. It was called Cork and Cindy. And I played Cork, the Mork part, and it changed my life. A teacher helped change my life. Then in high school, I had 2 teachers that helped change my life. Mr. Jenkins, Ike Jenkins, who became a dear friend of mine, and sadly he passed away this last year, and I think I've talked about it in a podcast. He was a mentor and a father figure to me. And then Mr. Huber, who was my choir teacher. Mr. Jenkins was my band teacher, and Mr. Huber was my choir teacher, and they changed my life. Teachers change lives. I'm sorry, Bob. Go ahead and continue with Cam's letter.
Yes, he says, I'm a professional musician and a Montessori teacher, and Jonah, his son, is in my class, and I love it.
That's awesome, man.
But first and foremost, a Christ follower. So it is so refreshing to see a professional creative like yourself share his faith using your God-given platform. Thank you, and I pray for your continued success and that you and the other believers in the entertainment industry will continue to show the world the true nature of Christ and his followers, not the judgmental and arrogant stereotype that many Christians have created.
Yeah, it's true. We talk about that a lot on the show, Cam, is that I think that there's some very sad parts of Christianity where people see it all as very judgmental and stuff, and that's just not it, man.
Oh, and yes, and it says, one final request. Jonah would love if you could give him a shout out on the podcast. Keep up the amazing work. I hope our paths cross one day and I can shake your hand in person. God bless you.
All right, Cam and Jonah.
Well, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I just want to say the Force is strong with you, Jonah. So be mindful of it. Never go to the dark side. Listen to your teachers, especially your music teacher. See what I did there? Yes, Cam. And the Force will be with you always. So there's a shout out as Obi-Wan Kenobi to Jonah and to Cam.
Well, very good. Thank you, Obi-Wan.
You're welcome. I'm going to go fly around in the spaceship and see how the fires are doing.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And this is Johnny Tess saying, Jonah's totally cool and totally awesome, and shout out to Jonah.
All right, very good. Thank you, Johnny. That's cool. And here's James Arnold Taylor giving you a shout out. buddy. Thank you for listening to the podcast all the time. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I think it's so cool that you and your dad are listening to it together and learning and growing from the things that are going on the podcast, because I'm learning and growing from all the things going on the podcast. All the time I spend with all of you helps me learn and grow and find out who I am as a person as well, because we never stop learning. We never stop growing. No matter how old you are, you will always find things to learn and grow with. So remember that. Okay, remember that, Jonah, and Cam, and everybody else. And Bob, thank you for reading their email.
Oh, and doobity-dee and dibbity-doo, yes.
So we got some other ones to read?
Yes, so I think we might have time for just a few more.
Okay, very good.
Yes, this is from Ethan in the United States.
Ethan in the United States. Okay, what does Ethan say?
Says, Dear James, I wanted to start off by saying thank you. I've written before and have loved you and your work since a very young age. Just recently, my girlfriend of over 2 years broke up with me unexpectedly.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy.
Ever since 2013, I've struggled with my mental health, and this didn't make things any easier.
I can see that would certainly put a damper on that, yeah.
I've always looked towards movies, comics, games, and ever since it started, your podcast. This most recent episode, Season 2, Episode 2,
that was just out just a few weeks ago,
was a much-needed reminder that things are okay. The part of the podcast where you reminded me to breathe and that everything in that moment was okay was so amazing.
I'm so glad, Ethan. I'm so glad.
I was able to just relax and listen to you talk while going through the mindfulness and breathing exercises. Thank you for being such an amazing and caring person. Even though you don't know your listeners, you always have something kind and careful to say. You are a true God-given role model. If I make it onto the show, that's amazing, but as long as you read this, my day will be made. God bless you and your family, James. Sincerely, Ethan.
Thank you so much, Ethan. I really appreciate that. I'm really appreciative of your email, and I'm really grateful that what I do on this podcast affects you and others in a positive way and gives you tools. You know, as the podcast has grown and as we enter into season 2 here, I was seeing the need. The funny thing is once I put a second season out, I got so many emails from all of you. And everybody loves the voices. I know you love Bob and Hank and Billy and Obi-Wan and all the characters and Mr. Announce Guy, all the characters that come on the show. But I know what you all really love is that you're kind of getting an hour and a half with a friend each week is what it feels like. And that's why I say this is a fellowship. Like the Lord of the Rings had the fellowship. That's what I'm basing it on. I'm seeing the importance of so many of us dealing with the anxieties and stresses of life and how important it is to have people help you with that, because I have gone through these things and I have come through the other side of so many of them, and I've learned so much. And that's why I want to share with you all being mindful, breathing deep, drinking water, taking your time in life to look and see that everything is okay. And again, for the 90 or so minutes that you listen to this podcast each week, everything's all right, man. And you can go back and listen to them anytime. So thank you so much, Ethan. But also know that when you all write to me like that and you tell me your stories, it helps me, and it helps me know that I'm helping you. And in that's really humanity. That's really all we can do, right? That's my goal. My goal is to help you all become better people. Why? Well, because I never really had a role model growing up like that. I had some mentors in school, like I mentioned. Mr. Jenkins was a mentor to me for a short time in my life there. But, I grew up not knowing my father, and the person I thought was my father my whole life was never really available to me. And I had to learn a lot of stuff on my own. And I had to learn certainly how to be a man on my own. And I had to learn how to be a father on my own. And I had to learn how to be a husband on my own. And many of you are going through the same things, male or female, that you're having to learn to be a wife or a friend or a sister or a brother or, whatever it is. And I don't want you to have to do it alone. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here to say that I believe in you, because I do. I believe in each and every person that is listening to this podcast. I believe in you. I believe in the power of your creativity and your abilities to change the world for the better. Not the whole world, but your own world, the world that you are in. And I love when you all let me know those things and what you're doing, how you're learning and how you're growing and how you're gaining insight from this podcast. So I am so appreciative. And that's really the job of this podcast. So it sounds as though we've done some good work here, Bob.
Oh, yeah, and dibbity-dee and dibbity-doo. Yes, indeed.
All right. Well, you know what? We are just a little over an hour here on the podcast today, and I am going to start wrapping it up because the fires and stuff. I do need to get out there and check and see how everything's going and check with my family and make sure everything's good. But you know what? Thank you all. Next week's podcast will be back to normal. And of course, this one, when you're listening to it, it'll all sound normal and be normal. The music will be kicking in and doing all the things. But as I'm recording it, I'm not doing all the things that I normally do live while I do it in the studio. So there you go. Anyways, so if you want to send me an email, you can go to jamesarnoldtaylor.com, click on the JAT Show link, and then choose a topic. Choose a topic. Don't leave that blank, okay? There's that little drop-down menu. Choose a topic. If you want me to read it on the show, then click the JATcast podcast. If you have a general comment, you can do general. If you have it for the JAT Show, you can be for the JAT Show. The JAT Show stuff is generally stuff that goes up on my YouTube that are videos and things. But so you can go there to jamesarnoldtaylor.com, click on that, send me an email, and thank you all for sending emails and telling me your stories and telling me how appreciative you are of everything. And I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. I do see the emails. We do read them. Bob reads them with me and such. And that is the way to go. So let's bring in Mr. Announcer Guy, see how he's doing so he can close out the show. Oh, Mr. Announcer Guy.
Oh, yes, James. Ready for the legal mumbo jumbo?
Yeah, I sure am, man. Go ahead.
Talking to Myself, the James Arnold Taylor Podcast is a production of Yumigo Inc., recorded at JAT Studios. Engineered, written, recorded, and produced by, you guessed it, James Arnold Taylor. All voices are parody and should be construed as entertainment only. All music and sound effects used with permissions and licenses through Backtracks, Digital Juice, Production Tracks, and Partners in Rhyme. James Arnold Taylor's Talking Myself, the Podcast, copyright 2019, all rights reserved.
Thanks, Mr. Announcer Guy.
You got it, man.
See you next week.
Not if I see you first.
That still doesn't make sense.
All right.
Okay. Hey, let's read to close the show as we've been doing. I think this is kind of cool. Let's read from my book, JAT 365, 365 Daily Inspirations for the Pursuit of Your Dreams, which is available on Amazon.com. You can go to Amazon and get your own copy of the book. And it's wonderful because it's also a journal. It's also a thing that helps you forward on positive information to other people. And by the end of the year, after 365 days, you have your own journal of your dreams and goals. Plus, you can watch it and do it live with me. You can work it on my YouTube channel. Well, not live, but it's like it's live because just click on go to my YouTube channel. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please consider doing so. I'd sure appreciate it. It's free. It doesn't cost you nothing. And you'll just get little notifications saying when I have a video out, and that's it. And you'll see videos, or you'll get my podcast there and stuff like that. But you can go to the James Arnold Taylor YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search James Arnold Taylor and subscribe. And then you look at the playlist and you'll see JAT 365, and you can do my book there. You can watch videos of me reading a page a day for 365 days. There you go. I turn randomly on these when we close the show out. I just go randomly to a page, and I've gone to day 282. And it's entitled Do Over. And it says, take all the things that are bugging you right now and let go of them. Right now. You can free yourself and start fresh with a positive attitude each day. Believe, clear your mind, breathe, and start over. And then the question is, what do you love? Here's the funny thing. This is God winking at me. It seems like every time I read a page from this book, whatever the theme of the podcast was for that day, it ends up being the page. And I'm telling you, I just open randomly to the book. So this is exactly what we were talking about today, of like fasting from things and take things that you don't need and hit restart on the day and let go of them. And that's what we're talking about, fasting from those things. Right now, I put an exclamation point. You can free yourself and start fresh with a positive attitude each day. And that's what we're talking about. Believe, clear your mind, breathe, and start over. And then I ask you the question, what do you love? So as I close the James Arnold Taylor podcast today, what do you love? Take a moment to think about that. Breathe it in. Write it down. And if it's a person, tell them. Let them know and thank them. I am so grateful for the outlet of the James Arnold Taylor podcast, the JATcast, and all of you that listen to it. Please spread the word. Wouldn't it be wonderful if more and more people listened to this podcast, and then it got a lot of attention and lives got changed from it, just not just yours and mine, but other people's. Spread the word wherever you can. It's just a fun little goofy show. It's really just me talking to me about things, but I think it's helping people. I know it is, by all of your emails, and I know it's helping me. So thank you so much. God bless you all. I love each and every one of you. I believe in each and every one of you, and I hope you have an amazing, awesome week, the rest of the week. I'm praying for you. I am. I believe in you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.